So I picked up a new vacuum pump the other day. I was actually hoping I would get it a lot sooner, but something happened at Johnstone and he wasn't able to get it to me till yesterday because I was going to use it on a job. It was just a small split system, but it would still, I would still show in an operation. But so I got this yesterday. I'm not huge on Fieldpiece stuff, but lately they've been coming out with some good stuff, and it's got me interested. So I decided, well, I'm gonna try the 10 CFM pump and see how it does. I have the recovery machine, the MR45, and I've used it some of my other videos, and so far it's been good and I like it. It's quiet, it recovers pretty quick, no issues. One of the longest Fieldpiece tools that I've had, or instruments that I've had for a while, is one of their scales. It's the scale with, it's got the cord attached to it. It's not the this is the wireless one. I just got that one not too long ago as well, but it's the one that has a cord, and I've had that for a while. And the good thing about that, and actually all their scales, is it's well, I wouldn't say it's fully waterproof, but you can get water on it and you're not going to short it out, you're not going to damage it. I would not recommend dumping or sprinkling water on your recovery machine if you're using the JB scale. You will kill it, guarantee. So, but yeah, like I said, I've had that scale for a while. It's always been good, and I've always used it when I recover. If I need to sprinkle some water on the top of the tank, it doesn't mess up the scale at all. So that's one thing I've had from Fieldpiece for a while, and it's always been good to me. So I decided, a couple years back, to go to the 45 because I had the Appion recovery machine, and that thing just started kind of, every now and then it would just be shaking like crazy, and it kind of seemed like it wasn't pulling good enough. So I decided, well, I'm gonna get something different. So I got the MR45, and it's been good, like I said. And I've always used JB vacuum pumps. In fact, this is my second Platinum, and then I have the Eliminator. But my other Platinum, the gas ballast snapped off, and so I had to send it back, and it literally took like 6 months for them to give it back to me. And since it was under warranty, I didn't have to pay for anything. But anyways, it took that long, and during that time, I needed a vacuum pump. So I went and I got this one, and then when I finally got the other one back, I just kind of used that as a backup and for residential stuff. And then I was using this for commercial. This is a 10 CFM as well. You can see I added a T fitting here, because on the regular T you get a 1/2 inch, 3/8, 1/4 inch. Well, if you use the blue vac hoses or the Appion, is the Appion, no, wait, yeah, the Appion is 3/4 as well. So if you're using the big hoses with 3/4 and then 1/4 inch, well, you can only use one hose on here, because on the regular fitting, like I said, you only have 1/2 inch, 3/8, 1/4 inch. So on this T, you get your 2 3/8s here, and that way you can run a hose off each end. But yeah, I've had this one for a while. It's always worked fine, as long as you're cleaning the oil out. The only thing I could say that I kind of don't like about this is obviously draining the oil. I mean, who likes draining the oil out? It's a pain in the butt. Sometimes it would overfill, come out oozing out of the gas ballast here, even though I'd correctly put the right amount of oil in here, I'd always get this thing spitting like a cobra every now and then, and have to put a towel, rag right here to catch it. And I'd always underfill a little bit. I would never go at that level because I just feel like I kept overfilling. That's what's in the manual, is if it's spitting out oil, you're overfilling it, and I would never overfill it, and it just always did that. So I just kind of stuck with it, whatever. So like I said, put a rag here and caught the oil. And then every now and then too, it like leaks randomly. I just think it's from leaking out of here, and it kind of sits somewhere in there, and then eventually from sitting it just starts, kind of makes its way down, because I have it sitting on the side of my door van, and there's no puddles of oil or anything. Just every time after I use it for a minute, I'll go and kind of notice the legs or the feet will have some oil on it. But yeah, so this will just pretty much be my backup pump if the Fieldpiece one takes a dump or whatnot, or stops working. But yeah, so let's go back to this. So this is the VPX7. This is a 10 CFM. Fieldpiece also makes two other lower CFM pumps in this same design. It's an 8 and a 6. I don't know the names on top of my head. I think it's the 87 and the 67. I use 10 CFM. I'm in commercial, so bigger the pump, the better it's gonna be for me. Of course, you need to use, vacuum rated hoses, take your cores out, all that good stuff, because without doing that, you're pretty much, it's pointless to even use the 10 CFM. A 6 would be all you would need. Just like, like in residential, anything up pretty much above 6 CFM pump is kind of pointless. Residential units are small, line sets aren't much that long. It's not like you're pulling a vacuum on, say, we have a line set over here on a mini split, but it's 4 floors up doing 90s and turns throughout the building, and you're talking about over a couple 100 feet of line set just alone. So take consideration, a residential house, even if it's 2-story, you're maybe 30 feet tops or so. But anyways, yeah, I know Navac makes like that big 12 CFM pump. I've seen that dude HK pull a vacuum on the that chiller system, but I am not trying to wheel and haul that thing around and rope it up to the roof. Yeah, no, not for me. I'll just stick with the 10 CFM. It's pretty much all I need. And like I said, another thing is this. I noticed the operation specs. So here's some specs right here, but like operating specs 30 to 104 on that JB. Normal operating specs on there is also 30 but to 160. So that motor on there, it gets hot to the touch. That's normal operating 160 degrees. You're on a roof and it's 120 degrees up there, like in Arizona, and that thing's operating normally at 160. That thing, it could overheat, and then it's going to trip the thermal overload. I think that's just with the direct drive. That's why it's doing that. This is a rotary vane, so it's going to stay cooler. Also, rotary vanes are used in more scientific vacuum pumps setups. So I kind of like that. That's how, Fieldpiece. I think I'm sure the older vacuum pumps are the same, but yeah, I kind of just like the way this is kind of looks wise, kind of drew my attention a bit. It says it's, it's light. I'll weigh both of them in a bit, but it's got this EPO coating on there, which is just makes it less corrosive to the environment. What else? It's got this window for the oil level, and it's got lights in there, which I don't know how bright that light is, but up on the roof, I mean, I don't think that's really going to do much. Changing the oil, I mean, if you're pulling a vacuum on a pretty heavily contaminated system, I mean, after that, doing that vacuum pull, you might as well just change the oil. If you're doing it on a brand new system, I mean, you can keep using that vacuum oil in that rig for, I don't know, at least an extra 5 more times, maybe more. It just, you know, you hook up your vacuum gauge to the pump and then see how low your pump will pull down. I mean, if your pump's pulling down under 100 microns, I mean, your pump's good to go. And it says another thing on here, it's saying that this won't shoot or backflow oil to your hoses, which I've had that do multiple times. It's where I'm done pulling a vacuum, I go and I pull my hoses off and I have them on the ground, and I notice there's oil coming out of them. And at first I'm like, did this thing pull a deep vacuum to where it's pulling the oil out of the system? Which, I mean, the vacuum only got down, I don't know, I'm only usually, of course, hitting 500 microns for 410, just around that ballpark. There's no way that's that low enough to pull oil out of the system. So it's going to be pretty much oil coming out of the pump, the vacuum pump oil. So that's another thing is, you know, my hoses, I've had hoses get filled with oil and I got to try to blow it out with nitrogen. Supposedly this does not backflow oil. Where does it say? It says it on here somewhere. Right here. Prevents oil backflow into hoses and gauges. So we'll find out. Another thing that I'm gonna be, you know, looking forward to is on, you know, on big systems, I'll be leaving the system in a vacuum, you know, sometimes overnight, sometimes over the weekend. And, you know, I never had the JB kick out on me. It's always stayed on. So, like I said, we'll see how this does. This can stay on for that much time that I need it to stay on, which I'm sure it will, but you never know. So, let's open the box. What do you get in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Manual. Save that, read it. Most people don't read the manual. Then they complain about, oh, the thing doesn't do this or it's that or it's off calibration or da-da-da. Well, yeah, read the manual. It tells you specifications, minus or plus, 2 degrees, power cord. Gonna need that. Comes with oil. There is oil in here, so that is full. Another thing of oil. So it comes with 2 canisters already full of oil. Another thing I like about these is you fill them up and that's it. That's all it needs. That's the correct amount of oil level. On the JB, like I said, if you're trying to go to that full line, you're kind of guessing how much oil you're going to need and start shooting out like a cobra, then I guess you overfilled it. Styrofoam, don't need that. I can already feel those are way lighter. Lifting that up with one hand. That JB sometimes a little heavy. Close that. Close that. Close that. Let's get you out. Don't need those. It's actually, the box makes it seem like it's way bigger than it really is, but it's actually not that big. So right off the bat, I like that these are on the front. You got 1/2 inch, you got 1/4 inch, and you got your 2 3/8. That's what we're using right here for our blue vac hoses. Boom, tie them right off, you're good to go. So as you see, it's got this EPO coating. It does have this kind of texture to it. Guessing that's that coating for corrosion resistance. Here is the screen. There's little lights in there for you can see the oil fogginess, if it's dirty or not, and it's for lights to show that the pump is operating. Here's your ball valve here for oil release. So goes in there like that. Once you're done with the oil, obviously the cap is off. Open the valve, drains in here, shut the valve off. You have your new oil here on the side, pull it out, push it in. Actually, I'm sorry, got your new oil. You're gonna take this cap off, fill it up. Once it's filled up, then you put your spare back in there. And these will hold the two. So that's good that, you know, you gotta change oil on the fly. You're on the roof. Instead of going all the way back down in your van, bring the oil back up, then you gotta stop your vacuum, drain the oil, put the oil back in, start the vacuum up again. That's a lot. With the two, you're just ready to rock. I noticed there's like a little filter in there, screen filter. I'm sure that's helping filter your oil. Let's see. Exhaust port right here. It's got threads on there. Looks like you can attach a hose to it. Put your motor in there. One thing on the back. Nope, other than specs. So on your lights, mirror told you it's showing an indication of when the pump runs. So those LEDs will throw codes if your pump is having a fault. So that's pretty cool. Tells you, you know, cold starts. I'm in SoCal. Don't get cold out here compared to Midwest and the East Coast. Tells your typical operation. Pretty much tells you step by step. If you've never done a vacuum or never handled one, there you go. As long as you can read English, tells you step by step what to do. Let's see. Handle feels good. Just wondering how this coating, we're putting up along the side of a building, how bad it's gonna scratch, especially on the sides. There's the other side. You got another fan in here, power switch, plug, gas ballast valve. I guess you can wrap the cord right here, wrap it up in between here, kind of like the MR45. Back to the front. So it's just one turn, pull up. There's your fill. That's another thing on this, is you don't need to have a funnel or additional tip to add on to, like when you have to fill the JB, you have just this little plug you gotta pull out, and you gotta put oil in there. And this, it's kind of got an open kind of mouth, and you just pour it in there. Boom, that's it. Put the cap back on, turn it, boom, you're ready to go. So let's see, weight wise, difference between this guy and the JB. Let me get my scale real quick. Zero the scale. Alright, let's put this guy on the scale. Make this as low as possible. We're at 24 pounds and 3 ounces. Okay, 24 pounds. Take it off. Let's put the JB pump. JB pump is at 31 pounds, 9.5 ounces. That is difference, I would say. No. 31 compared to that 24. Definitely gonna see that when you're roping up. So that was another thing. I wanted a little bit lighter pump. That's what also wanted me to pick this guy up. But I mean, yeah, other than that, see, I have a measuring tape. Let's see. It's about 15 inches wide. I'd say about almost a little over 7 inches in width. So, like I said, the box makes it look bigger than it is. But yeah, when I got a leak job coming up, if anything comes up, and I need obviously to pull a vacuum, I'll definitely be hooking this guy up, and then I can show you how good it does in a vacuum. I was hoping I'll be able to get it before this past weekend, because then I'd be able to use it for a little bit, just to show it in operation, how loud it is, how smooth it runs, if it's throwing oil out, and how quick it can pull a vacuum. Because me throwing a gauge on here and just turning it on, I mean, of course it's going to pull it down to, you know, really low micron level, or it may not even turn on at all. I don't know, but anyways, yeah, so this is the VPX7 vacuum pump for anybody who's interested in getting the newer Fieldpiece pumps. Like I said, I think they look pretty cool, pretty stout. I think this pump will last me a while, and it'll do pretty good in the field. So we'll just have to see and pit in battle, see how it does. But already I'm really liking it. But yeah, once I got a video coming up to use it, I'll definitely record it, and then I'll show it in live action. But alright, that's it. Have a good one.